All right, Jacinta Price, one of the great warriors and a person who's been able to change our country's mind over much of the narrative that has been built for a while. Of course, we want to recognise her incredible achievement on the weekend, but let us focus right now on what happened in the Senate and the disgraceful behaviour of some Labor senators. We spoke just before we came to air on her motion being defeated.
Today I tried to move an urgency motion to call upon the Prime Minister to hold a Royal Commission into the sexual abuse of Indigenous children, to audit Indigenous, the many services, and to work in a bipartisan manner to bring about common sense, practical approaches to solve some of these issues. That's what happened today, and I was just absolutely appalled at the excuses and the flippant way in which some of the Labor senators behaved in response to this call. And Labor, the Greens and Senator Pocock all voted this motion down.
This is extraordinary. I mean, it obviously very personal as a way of getting back at you because you embarrassed them, you embarrassed their plan, and their plan for a new place for people to sit around and talk about what happened a couple of hundred years ago, as opposed to potentially what should be being done now, a place where people would be able to wear it like a badge and go on Q&A and do endless interviews on Radio National. You're talking about a practical thing here. Now, I want everyone to go and have a look at the live stream that I mentioned before, because you get into some detail here. But again, I don't mean to re-traumatise you because it's a difficult day, but you're talking about family members now that on multiple fronts have been on the wrong side of this stuff. You mentioned it in the Parliament, yet these people basically gave you the middle finger and giggled while they did it.
Yeah, it felt like it felt the same as being a victim and going to seek help. About being abused and then being denied. That's how it felt. I had informed those that had asked me to do this on their behalf, survivors of abuse, to push for this. I have to inform them now that their government is not interested in hearing their stories, understanding how they can improve the lives of those that are still in situations where they're being abused now, and where we can prevent this into the future. That's what I have to now go and tell them. And I just find it just unfathomable still that this has occurred, and the fact that these are Indigenous kids we're talking about. This is the real racism. This is the real racism, where Aboriginal children are left in dysfunctional circumstances because of the stigma of the stolen generation, where we can't even hold a Royal Commission into the fact that they are victims in this country, the highest rates of experiencing the highest rates of sexual abuse. I mean, Senator Cox from Western Australian communities have had the highest rates. Roebourne community was once named the sexual abuse capital of the country, and yet they still want to refuse these children a voice.
On the overall result, we see the Prime Minister, sort of, as I showed a bit earlier in the show, playing the Frank Drebin, the police squad guy from Naked Gun. Nothing to see here, while there's a giant fire behind him. Yesterday, I listed all of the different things that the government was patting itself on the back about in the federal budget that was extra money that they were throwing in towards Indigenous issues. Well, of course, $450 million has just been piddled up against the wall. I really like the suggestion about corporates that spent whatever dollar they spent on the Yes campaign, now spend it on a serious donation with somebody that can help tomorrow. But the Prime Minister thinks that, he deserves a gold star because he made a promise, Jacinta. So it was good that we went through this, despite the fact that he never changed the question, he never split the question, he never delayed the vote, despite the fact that he knew for months this thing was hitting a brick wall. What do you say to the Prime Minister and his attitude that, I'm a conviction politician, I did the right thing?
Well, if you actually have to state that you're a conviction politician, evidently you're not. He's made several promises. He's made promises to reduce people's power bills by $275. He's not kept that promise. You can't just simply state that you made a promise and that's why you went through with it. You have to be a bit better than that. You have to determine whether this is a good decision for the country or not. You have to balance all of that up. And as for the corporates, well, I think the corporates, given they care so much about Indigenous Australians, should now apply pressure on the Prime Minister to hold a Royal Commission into the sexual abuse of Indigenous children. And absolutely, I concur with Senator Karen Little that they should now double their efforts and put money into worthwhile, common sense initiatives. And we can certainly point them in the right direction instead of making excuses for the fact that they supported the referendum that Australians didn't want.
We know that 60% of the country said no, but 60% of the country is not following you on Facebook. Let's change that right now. Follow the Senator on Facebook, because not only will you see every little thing that she's doing, and it's not little things, every big thing that she's doing, plus she has live reactions after things of like what happened today. Follow her, show support, because the second she says, hey, here's a petition, here's a number to ring, here's a place to email, do it, do it, do it. You did your bit last Saturday, now you do your bit tonight, tomorrow, next week and every week after, because as we all know, this lady's a star. We love you, Jacinta. Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting, but have a good sleep this weekend.
Thanks, Paul. Let's keep going, Australia.
We will. We love you, darling. All right, her link is up on our socials in preview of tonight's show.